Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to my Robinhood portfolio. As always, hope you guys are having an awesome, relaxing weekend. Hopefully, those of you that are living in the northern latitudes are staying warm. Cold snap kind of moved through over the weekend, and I think this may be the start of winter in earnest, unfortunately. So, hopefully, you guys are doing well. As you guys know, no trading over the weekend, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to talk a little bit about dividends. As you guys know, I've been putting together a portfolio of high yielding ETFs and equities, and in doing so, I'm getting a lot of dividend payments. Right now, I have about 60 stocks or so, if I remember correctly. I'm going to try to get up to about 100, 120 stocks when I'm fully diversified across all market segments. And in doing so, I'm going to have quite a few dividends rolling in. So there's a number of different ways of tracking dividends. First and foremost, on the front page here of Robinhood, there's a little notification bar that pops up, and every dividend that is received pops up here. So you can see here today, about 2 hours ago, I received a dividend from IBM of $1.40 per share. And if I scroll through these, I also received a dividend from Target of 60 cents per share. So kind of a cool, unique little feature there that alerts you to when dividends come in. Then also, if you go to your account page, if you go to history, you can see now there's all history displayed, but you can actually go up and drop down another menu that goes through transfers, orders, dividends. There's also a tab for Robinhood Gold and Rewards, which I don't have. If you click on dividends, you can see all your dividends that are coming in here. The pending is kind of hidden by that subscribe logo, but all up top here are pending dividends. These are dividends that are scheduled to come in that you've basically held the dividend, or you've held the stock through the ex-dividend date, or on the ex-dividend date. That's really all you need to do, is hold a stock the day before an ex-dividend date, and then you can sell on the ex-dividend date and still receive the dividend. So essentially, you could hold it for less than a day, buy it before trading ends on the day prior to the ex-dividend date, and then sell it on the ex-dividend date to capture that dividend. Once you do that, you can basically see which dividends are coming in, which dividends have been reported by the companies on the record date, and then you can see dividends on the bottom here that have actually been paid to you. So you can see those two dividends I talked about, Target and IBM, paid here December, and then you can kind of see my other past dividends as well. And as I said, I have about 60 stocks or so there's quite a few dividends here. And here's the dividends, older activity past the last 30 days. So every few days or so, I essentially have a dividend. And sorry about scrolling so rapidly, but I have so many dividends here, it's kind of hard to get through all of these. So yeah, kind of a cool little feature. So two different ways of tracking dividends. And then also, as you pop into a stock itself, let's see here, I know Abbott Laboratories has given me a dividend here. There's also a tab on the bottom there. You can see dividends tab. So all dividends that are received will pop up there as well if you want to review to make sure you got a dividend, or insert if you had a stock held on the day prior to the ex-dividend date. Then you can also pop into that for further detail, and you can see there the date received, number of shares, amount per share, and then the total amount of the dividend payment. Robinhood, there's really no drip dividend reinvestment. It basically is paid to you as a cash payment, and you'll see your cash balance increase after a dividend is paid. So kind of a cool way of tracking dividends. So 3 different ways. It will pop up here on, let me go back one slide here. It will pop up here on your front page here. You can push the start over button to see your prior notifications. It'll also pop up into your account under history. Just go ahead and select dividends if you just want to see dividends only. If you have quite a few, they'll all pop up here for your review, which is kind of nice. Then also, like I said, if you pop into a stock, I think Evie's also giving me a dividend. So I'll be on the bottom. Yep, they're on the bottom there. You can see the dividend payment. And then if you click in, you can see further detail. So a number of different ways that you can see your dividend payments. Robinhood has had this from the onset of this application, which is nice to go through. The only thing I would wish they would do is in the stock itself, you can see it has a lot of information with regards to the statistics, dividend yield, but it doesn't have the ex-dividend date, record date, anything like that, which is kind of a bummer. It'd be nice to know when the ex-dividend date is, so you can kind of go through and have a good idea when to sell a stock or keep it through the ex-dividend date. I've been doing a kind of a strategy of dividend capture, but essentially you buy the stock before the ex-dividend date, hold it through the ex-dividend date, hopefully get that dividend, sell the stock off for about the same price that you bought it for, maybe a little bit less considering that you had that dividend payment, and then moving on to the next stock to essentially do the same thing. It'd be kind of nice to know that ex-dividend date. That's one thing I wish Robinhood would add. But having said all that, I love the application. It's been a very, very good application. So, yeah, just kind of wanted to talk about that today. Warren Buffett. Remember, federal. Oh, yes, exactly. So the federal interest rate should be hiked this next week. So I think it's going to be very, very important to know that. I think it's going to be a very volatile market next week. Typically, with federal interest rate hikes, investors get a little bit uncertain about where the market is going, and there's a little bit of a sell-off. So I think the market will drop a bit next week, but I don't think it's going to have a long-lasting impact on the equity markets here. I don't plan on really selling anything. I don't think I'm going to get out of any of my positions at the moment. I may sell off a little bit of Ford. Ford has been treating me very, very well of recent. I may sell a few hundred shares of Ford, and maybe try to pick those up if the stock market overall does drop a bit after the federal rate is announced. I think that's going to be happening next week. It could be happening in 2 weeks. Warren Buffett thinks it's happening next week, so I'm going to trust him on this one. But very, very important to note that I'm not going to make any major moves this next week because of that. And like I said, I might even try to get out of a few positions that I have made a nice little return over the last week or so. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. A little bit about dividends, how we can track those in Robinhood, and then also just a little bit of a commentary about the federal interest rate hike that should be happening this next week, maybe the week after, but definitely before the New Year's holiday season here, Christmas and the New Year's. So just be prepared for that. So I'll kind of end the video here. As always, if you enjoy my videos, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Building the channel, having a lot of fun making videos, learning about the markets. Hopefully you guys have been learning as well. If any questions about dividend payments, any questions about the federal rate hike, feel free to ask. I did put a video out maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe a little bit longer, about the federal interest rate and how that affects equity markets, also bonds as well. So take a look at that video, but feel free to ask. I'm still learning as well. So if you guys have any good insights to prepare for this next week, let me know. Always appreciate it. So kind of with that, I'll end the video, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.